Hi. Now, are you like me quite intrigued or even excited about what the Pan America will deliver on Monday the 22nd of February when all the specs are going to be released to the public? Stay tuned and we'll look over what we can expect from the Pan America.
The channel for the latest in motorcycle news, views and tech reviews.
So I thought what I'd do is we'd use my Triumph Tiger to sort of look over the attributes of an adventure motorcycle and what we can expect coming from the Pan America. So I say this is my Triumph Tiger 800 XCA. So I'll discuss what makes up an adventure bike. We'll discuss what we can expect from the Pan America. Now normally when we start with an adventure motorcycle like this, we'd maybe start with the frame, but the heart of a Harley Davidson is in its V-twin engine. So let's start with the engine. So from the Pan America we can expect the V-twin Revolution Max engine. Now that is a 1250cc 60-degree V-twin, we know that. It's obvious from the pictures, it's a double overhead cam, water-cooled engine. We can expect, well, we've been told it's got at least 145 horsepower and 90 pounds-feet of torque. Now that pitches it right in the middle of the 1200cc adventure bike class. It's actually slightly more power than the GS. Everybody will be, jumping on saying, oh, it's more powerful than the GS, but it's actually lower torque than the GS. The GS has got about 100 pounds-feet compared to, Harley claiming sort of at least 90 pounds-feet of torque. But it's certainly not up there in power as you'd expect from the KTM with 165 horsepower, and certainly not the Ducati Multistrada with 175 horsepower. So it's going to stick smack bang in the middle of the range. The V-twin on the Harley Davidson Pan America, expect that to lift its weight up a bit. It might feel a little bit more top heavy. So moving on to the frame, most adventure bikes come with a steel trellis type structure for the frame, and you can see the Pan America has done exactly the same thing. One of the advantages I can already see on the Pan America, the rear frame actually bolts to the main frame. Another advantage I've seen on the Pan America is that you're able to, on the rear foot pegs, you can unbolt the rear foot pegs on the Pan America. So if you're going off-road, you're not going to be carrying a pillion, you can just get rid of your rear pillion pegs, and that sort of stops the possibility of dropping the bike and actually damaging the rear pegs. Now a key feature for adventure motorcycles is the wheels. Now what you'll tend to see in the adventure bike is this spoked wheel design, and there is a reason for this, that going off-road you will hit rocks, you will hit big potholes, and you need a bit of flex in your wheels. If this was a cast aluminium wheel, if you hit a rock and you buckle it, that's pretty much the end of the wheel. It's throw it away and buy a new one. The advantage of the spoke wheel is there is some give in the spokes, so there is a bit of movement, and you can tighten it up and correct it. On the Pan America, the rim bevels out and the spokes go to the sides of the rim. So that enables it to run completely tubeless and easier to plug a puncture if you get caught out. Another thing you notice with adventure bikes is they have a larger front wheel. Looking at the Pan America, it looks to me like it's followed most of the 1200 lines, which are going for a 19-inch front wheel. Now the advantages of a bigger wheel is you can get over bigger obstacles easier. If a boulder hits anywhere below the halfway point on this wheel, the wheel's going to go over it. Another very important factor to think about for off-roading is good suspension. We can see the Pan America's looks like it's got Showa suspension. So yeah, I've got WP suspension here, massive long travel to be able to get over obstacles off-road. It also makes for these adventure bikes to be very plush on road. It looks to me that on the Pan America they've gone down the electronically adjustable suspension route. So I'll pop up a picture, but you can see down below that there is a drive mechanism to drive the preload on the front suspension. Very common right across the 1200s. Now, one other area I haven't mentioned is the brakes. And you can see here I've got a Brembo set up on the Triumph Tiger 800. The 900's moved to the Brembo monoblock type calipers on the front, and that's exactly where the Pan America has gone. Brembo monoblocks. Shouldn't be anything wrong with the braking on the Pan America. You can see from the Pan America it's gone down very much the same traditional hard luggage route. They haven't developed the panniers themselves, and I know it's got the bar and shield on the top box, but if you look at the panniers, you've very much got that X, which people in the adventure world will know is Trek. So it looks like Trek have designed, you know, the pannier system for the Pan America. Also synonymous with adventure bikes is the crash bars. The Triumph comes with the lower crash bars. I've added the upper crash bars. It seems the Pan America has got an integrated set that's probably good enough. That comes up to sort of this level here. They've interestingly, you know, I've got protection from the bars from my indicators, and most of them move a little bit, so you've got a little bit of give there. Harley's actually took theirs out the way, which is fantastic, because at first I actually saw the indicators being put on the handguards, which I thought, that is absolutely ridiculous. Who came up with that? I mean, these are actually for bouncing off trees. You don't want to put your indicators there, so thank God Harley have changed it and they've actually put the indicators down here. What you can see on the Pan America is lots of switch gear. You know, over this side it's got a completely different setup to the start, kill switch setup, and then it appears to have controls for controlling audio. We've got to expect several rider modes from the Harley Davidson. So I expect various modes, certainly an off-road, road mode as an absolute minimum, if not more. I've got my TomTom here, whether Harley do some sort of integrated navigation into the TFT unit. Will be interesting to see. I'm sure there's lots of features that they can get on that TFT unit. Back to the controls on the right, there was lots of controls here, probably a, you know, left, right, up, down type control. It's, you know, equivalent to my joystick here. Interesting, Harley have gone for the indicators just on the left side, like a traditional motorcycle, so away from the traditional, you know, thumb indicator controllers on each side. I've got the button here for my heated seats. I'm sure I've seen a heated button on there. Whether that's the front and rear heated seats on the Pan America, we'll see. Cruise control, I've seen cruise control on the Pan America, so expect that. I've got standard on this, and this is like a £12,500 motorcycle, standard for heated grips. Looking at the prototypes for the Pan America, and there was some, you know, or extra items on the wall behind, and I'm sure it had heated grips on the wall, so maybe these are going to come as an additional optional extra for the Pan America. I've got a cable operated clutch here, span adjustable. I don't expect any different from the Pan America. We also expect on our adventure motorcycles to have adjustable windscreen. In the down position, that allows the draft to come straight into my face, especially if I'm, you know, working hard off-road, up on the pegs. It's great for getting that extra air into your face. But in the 1200 class, it's pretty much expected that this is some sort of electrically operated system. Now, it looks like on the Harley there's a big wheel on the side here, which I suspect is how you get this up and down. I'm not really sure how great that's going to work. Moving around to the rear of the motorcycle, we can see here on my Triumph Tiger 800 that it's chain driven. Now that has many advantages to maybe a shaft drive system that you do tend to see on the 1200 models in particular, you know, the Triumph Tiger 1200. the BMW GS, but not with the KTM. Even though the chain's exposed, they're very durable. You know, even if you're in sand and mud, won't cause any problems really for the chain, which if you had sort of Harley sticking to maybe the belt drive system, if you get sort of rocks and stones in that belt drive system, it will just rip it to shreds. So I can understand why they've moved away from a belt drive system, but really surprised that they didn't go for the, you know, almost zero maintenance shaft system. So in conclusion, how do I think the Pan America is going to stack up against the competition? Well, I think the overall design of the Pan America is certainly different. I think it's going to be very Marmite to people. You either like it or you don't, or it'll grow on you maybe after a time. It's very American, it's very Jeep-like on two wheels, as their chief designers mentioned. How do I think it'll perform off-road? I think it'll be much of a muchness for the bigger 1200 motorcycles. How will it take with the European customer? I think if, like me, you're a Harley Davidson owner and you know you were thinking of getting a touring bike maybe, that the Pan America could potentially be a better option. Much better suspension characteristics, much more ability and agility than the big ultra touring range. Maybe you want to, you know, like me, add that addition to the garage, and you'd really like to stick with the Harley brand. Or maybe, you know, you're really desperate to get into the adventure world, your friends have got adventure bikes, you want to go where they go, you want to do what they do, but you haven't got the space or the, you know, the money for another bike, and maybe, you know, the Harley would have to go for an adventure bike. Well, the Pan America is going to give you that opportunity now to stick with the Harley brand, get your adventure motorcycle. So, are you waiting for the Pan America launch on the 22nd? Certainly, I'll be straight out with a video as soon as I can. So if you want to be one of the first to know without having to subscribe to all the Harley websites, then just hit subscribe, click that bell icon, and you'll get notified as soon as I pump out that video. Thanks for watching.